Scott, I must say you've dealt with quite a few situations. In fact, you came on our radar through a film the FBI put together called Made in Beijing, and it was largely about Chinese economic espionage. So, could you walk us through how economic espionage from China came on your radar?
Well, sure. Again, kind of accidentally, I didn't go looking for trouble. But in my role with Monsanto, I was head of global internal investigations.
Hmm.
And included in that was if we got an alert from our data loss protection technology that says, hey, Yaya has taken some information here. Every indication is it's important, and we need to go check on that. So we would investigate that the same as we would any whistleblower allegation. And then we would have a report in frequently, and we would escalate as that was necessary. But I'm going to tell you, in 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, in that time period, we began to notice that our total investigation load, the percentage of things we were investigating was going up inside of the data protection category. Doesn't mean
Hmm.
the others were coming down, but we did notice more frequency there. Simultaneously, we're rocking along, we're minding our own business. I get a telephone call from my corporate security team saying, Scott, Mr. Baucum, you have a visitor here. The FBI is here and they want to talk to you.
Hmm.
Oh,
Wow.
I got a clear conscience, Yaya, but I couldn't imagine what that was.
Yeah.
And so met with them, and very quickly, the first thing they say is, "Do you have a security clearance?" Well, no, I don't. Well, I need you to sign right here because we're going to tell you things that you can't disclose. It all seems very formal, right? It all seems very Tom Clancy. But in the course of doing that, they explained to me that they were investigating a case where an employee of a Chinese seed company was caught in a farmer's field in Iowa digging up the seeds that were planted in that field. This is ill advised. I think culturally, people really don't understand people in rural U.S. How they feel about private property, trespassing, and those kinds of things. But that, nonetheless, is what had happened, and they needed our help to develop the evidence on the case that they suspected that this was directed by the Chinese Communist Party. And we began to help them as they requested, help them understand the science so that they could understand how to put that evidence together. And that's where it became a team sport.
So it's a team sport. You all are working together. In that particular case, how did it come to an end?
Well, it really lasted. It had legs that just kind of extended, and all of that. So that particular case, we worked with them on it for really quite some time. They developed the evidence on that, and they developed it out of the Southern District of Iowa, I believe, federal court system. We worked with them. We got the evidence right. We proved up our trade secrets for them, and they got they got a plea agreement on the way to a conviction. That individual pled guilty and then served a prison sentence there for attempting to take that seed.
So you've dealt with more than one case like this, and before we get into maybe the A to Z of how they have operated and how you've dealt with them, first of all, why would the Chinese Communist Party go after your secrets? What's the
Well,
value?
yeah, it's a very good question, and I would answer by saying we need to really think globally and culturally when we start asking questions like that. Okay, here in the United States, we are we're very tuned in to operating from a standpoint of capitalism, the concept of private property rights, rugged individualism. and being an entrepreneur, right? That's really kind of a strong part of our culture here. But that is not necessarily true in every culture around the world. For example, in the People's Republic of China, there tends to be more of a mentality of community, of socialistic thinking about all for one and one for all kind of mentality. And so you have to start with the psychology of this first. But when you just answer the question straight out, we invest $2.5 billion a year. Rarely would we ever invent anything inside of 1 year. It is a long process. A new biotechnology product can take as much as 10 years, over $100 million in order to develop it and get it there to the first commercialization. Well, if they can send somebody in phase 3, phase 4 of research, pick that up, then they can come to market almost simultaneously with us. They can bypass all of that experience, or all of that expense, and all of the time that it took to get there, and they can have it almost immediately by operating this espionage type of model.
So this model involves operatives, right? The folks doing the espionage. What's the caliber of the folks that have been sent to do this?
Well, I'll tell you, Yaya, that's a very dynamic question. Okay. What I can tell you is that the individuals that are sent from the PRC and the companies that are in the PRC, they are very sophisticated people. First of all, they're extremely smart. Some of the
Mhm.
smartest people that I've ever come up, to talk with in my entire life. And then they have special training on how to approach this, how to do this without getting detected, how to get caught. And quite frankly, and sadly, I feel like most of the time that their training and their ability is outpacing my ability to detect it and put a stop to it. And so let me just give you some examples in contrast.
Mm.
The vast majority of data exfiltration is going to be an employee with no preconceived idea about what they're going to do with the data, but they feel compelled to take the data for one reason or another. We would see that because they would transfer that data to their personal email account through webmail connectivity in our company, or they would send it to upload it to a data cloud somewhere, or they would hit print, they would print it off and move along. Well, the sophisticated trained agents no longer really engage in that kind of thing. They have figured out that we are watching that. They do far more sophisticated things now. They can do things that I actually can't understand. My forensics people have to kind of explain it to me. But one of the simple things they'll do is they'll pull the information up on the screen. They'll take their personal phone out and they'll simply snap a picture on their personal phone. There's really very little that a company can do in that regard. And some of the technologies under development to try to address that are either extremely expensive or not quite ready for prime time yet.